All right, let's get into it. Today, we're taking a deep dive into something pretty remarkable. How the United Kingdom has managed to transform itself from, a world-class AI research hub, a lab really, into a full-blown industrial AI factory. We're talking about a place that's now churning out companies that are seriously shaking up entire global industries.
Just a quick heads up before we jump in. All the info you're about to see comes from a ton of research, both manual and AI-powered. But as always, we definitely encourage you to check out the facts for yourself.
So, let's kick things off with a number that really puts everything into perspective. $230 billion. That's what the UK's AI market is worth right now. It's not just big, it's the largest and most dynamic AI ecosystem in all of Europe. This isn't just some emerging tech scene anymore, it's an absolute economic powerhouse. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Look at this. Even while the rest of the tech market was kind of cooling off, AI managed to grab more than a quarter of all venture capital in the UK. That shows some serious investor confidence. It's like AI has completely decoupled from the normal tech trends. It's really playing in a league of its own now.
So, the big question is, right? How in the world is the UK going toe-to-toe with the absolute giants in the US and China? Well, the strategy is crystal clear: specialization. Instead of trying to be everything to everyone, UK companies are focused on becoming the undisputed world leaders in very specific, super high-value areas. Let's meet a few of these champions.
First up, we've got Wave. These guys are pioneers in something called embodied AI, which is basically intelligence that can actually interact with the real physical world. And their mission? It's pretty revolutionary. They're not trying to teach cars how to drive by programming a million rigid rules. No, they're teaching them to learn from video data, kind of like how you and I learn to drive.
And believe me, the market is definitely paying attention. In 2024, Wave pulled in a massive $1.05 billion investment. Now, this wasn't just a big funding round. At the time, it was the largest AI fundraise in all of Europe. A huge vote of confidence from heavy hitters like SoftBank and NVIDIA.
And this is the real kicker, the how. This slide just lays it out perfectly. The old way of doing autonomous driving meant you had to painstakingly build these super detailed maps for every single city. It's slow, it's expensive. But Wave's approach, what they call AV 2.0, just learns the rules of the road from watching videos. That means you can drop their system into a brand new city and it can start driving almost instantly. That is a game-changing strategic advantage.
All right, our next champion is Synthesia, and they live in the world of generative AI. But they're not just messing around with funny deepfakes. They are building the future of how big companies communicate by creating these incredibly realistic AI avatars that can generate studio-quality videos whenever you need them.
And yeah, their success? It's pretty hard to argue with. With a valuation that has soared past $2 billion, Synthesia is a certified unicorn. They've proven there's a massive commercial demand for this tech, turning what sounded like science fiction into a seriously powerful business tool.
So why is this such a big deal for businesses? Well, think about it. Traditional video production is a nightmare. It's expensive, it's slow. Imagine you need to update a training video or get a message from your CEO out in 10 different languages. That's a huge headache. Synthesia turns that whole process into a simple software task. It makes video creation instant, scalable, and global. It's not just a creative service anymore. It's becoming essential infrastructure.
And for our third champion, we're stepping into what might just be the UK's most powerful niche of all, digital biology. Isomorphic Labs, which is a sister company to Google DeepMind, is taking on one of the biggest challenges facing humanity. Their mission is to use AI to completely redesign the way we discover new medicines from the ground up.
Just look at the money pouring into this sector. It's staggering. As you can see here, companies like Isomorphic Labs, Bit.bio, Skin Analytics, they're attracting hundreds of millions in funding. This isn't just one lucky company. This is a thriving, world-leading ecosystem where AI and life sciences are coming together to solve some really profound problems.
Okay, so we've met the all-stars. But what's actually running the show behind the scenes? What are the foundational pieces that let these incredible companies even exist, let alone scale up? Let's go take a look inside the engine room.
The way funding works here is, well, it's kind of like a barbell. It's really interesting. On one end, you have this super vibrant early-stage scene, with local UK funds and government tax breaks helping new ideas get off the ground. But on the other end, when it's time for those massive billion-dollar growth rounds, the money is almost entirely international. It's flowing in from Japan, the US, and Asia.
But, money's one thing. You can't build anything without the brains. And in the UK, that talent is packed into what's known as the Golden Triangle. You've got London, the clear commercial hub. You've got Cambridge, the heartland for deep tech and bio. And then there's Oxford, a powerhouse for spinning incredible research out of the university. This density, having all these brilliant people so close together, is absolutely critical for innovation.
But all this amazing software and talent needs one more thing, and it's a big one: raw computing power. As this quote says, you simply cannot talk about AI today without talking about the hardware it runs on. And honestly, this has been a potential weak spot for the UK.
And that is what makes this number so incredibly important. A company called Nscale raised an unbelievable $1.7 billion with one single goal: to build a sovereign GPU cloud. This is a massive strategic move to make sure UK companies have access to the powerful chips they need to train their models, so they don't have to rely so heavily on the US cloud giants. All right, so we've painted a pretty rosy picture, right? Specialized champions, tons of investment, brilliant minds. But it's not all smooth sailing. What does the future actually hold? Let's talk about the road ahead and some of the challenges coming up on the horizon.
So let's just get right to it. For all of this success, what's the catch? What are the key hurdles that could slow down the UK's momentum or even stop it from capturing the full value of all these amazing innovations?
When you break it all down, it really comes to three key battlegrounds to watch. First, securing that independent computing power we just talked about. That's non-negotiable. Second, figuring out how to turn the UK's strict regulatory environment into an advantage, like a protective moat that competitors can't easily cross. And third, the never-ending war for the best talent against super aggressive recruiting from US tech labs.
And that really brings us to the final multi-trillion-dollar question. The United Kingdom has, without a doubt, built a world-class AI factory that produces game-changing technology. The defining question for the next decade is this: as these companies grow up and start creating trillions in value, can the UK actually keep that value anchored in its own economy? The answer to that is going to determine its future as a true AI superpower.